All righty. So how has your week been? How has it been with the numbers and budgeting and scenarios?
Been fine.
Good. Good. All right, let me just go ahead and get started. As they come in, we will definitely add them to the conversation.
Okay.
You would think I'd have all this presentation together by now.
No worries.
Thank you. All right. So last week when we ended, we didn't even make it through the whole presentation, which is fine because we're at the point in the course where it's really ad hoc. What we're doing is going through your scenarios, seeing what makes the most sense to you. Let me let Jason in. Hold on. So we're seeing what makes the most sense to you and then seeing how we can make that a reality in your budget. Welcome, Jason. So we just began. Again, today is totally ad hoc. We're just going to be here to make sure your scenarios make sense. And if you haven't determined how to get from point A to point B yet, we can discuss those options to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. All right, you guys?
I'm good.
Good. So are y'all able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
All right. So
For the scenarios that you're talking about, do I need to go look at class 8?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
For the scenarios that you're referring to, do I need to go back and look at class 8?
You can, because that's what we did in class 8 was we spent the majority of class going over the various scenarios. We used Zade as an example. Zade, we use you as an example so that we could see how to make things happen. Or I think in yours, we were getting you out of the red and getting you into the black. I think that was the focus for you. Because that is a prerequisite that needs to happen first before you start considering, oh, how do I get, well, it's part of how to get from point A, where you currently are, to point B, where you're deciding to go. So that's a good point. So we just pick up where we left off. All right, so it's a couple steps to this process. We've done a lot of the steps. We're right in the middle. We're at class 9. So let me go back a step. So typically when we start, we do one win, one challenge, things of that nature. I have not changed the slide, but I want to ask you guys something different today. What I'd like to know is, what's your intention? Let's set an intention for this time that we have together today. What would you like to accomplish in this time?
For me, it's looking forward, like how to look forward now that we have the data. I feel like we're getting pretty good at the data entry and understanding what has happened and why it's happened, but it's still unclear to me, and I don't have like any confidence yet on how to change what has happened for moving forward.
Thank you.
So how to plan, which I guess is a real budget, like how to actually do the budget part for changing behavior in the future.
Sounds good. Any other
I would agree with what Jason just shared, the same thing about how to move forward. And I think I just plugged in numbers for June in the actual budget for the next 6 months. So like you said, just what it looks like to go forward, and then maybe ideas around just to make things to keep in mind, that sort of thing.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry, you good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll just go with that, Jason. That's really good. That's really good. So let's see how to get you from point A to point B. It's been real clear as far as where you stand on point A. You guys each have your budget created so you know where you currently are. So where do you want to be? Jason, I know you wanted to reduce your expenses tremendously. So the next step would be determine which one of those areas that you can manipulate. If those areas are fixed and they're not unnecessary or optional expenses, the next option would be to see how you can increase your revenues. So last week we spoke about different ways to incur an expense that would generate revenue to not only cover the expense, but give you additional revenues to cover other expenses. That would be an option. So we have these different things that come into play, but what feels best for you as far as getting from point A to point B?
Yeah. So I think our information is in the right place.
Okay.
And I've gone into the budget versus actual June through December tab, and I've taken the 6-month averages and pasted them all the way through the end of the year. We're going in and kind of changing some of those static inputs to reflect like what we think might be actual from an income standpoint. For example, we know Mary Kate's not going to bring a check in every month, but we kind of have an idea when she will bring a check in. And so just making those adjustments from an income perspective, we've got a pretty good idea there. I think it feels like everything is fixed from a cost standpoint. July, like we just wrapped it up, and it would be a win for us this week. Last time we just wrapped it up, July's inputs, and we did spend less,
Good.
quite a bit less, and we almost broke even. Didn't quite.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Are you serious? That's great.
So excited about that, and it was good to, it felt encouraging that was the case. But then when we look into that June through December, I don't know, it's just kind of like, well, what do we do? Like, how does this kind of come alive in terms of planning and then acting on it moving forward? So
let me ask you, are we in under class 2 folder, or do I need to go to class 4?
I'm not in a folder that I know of. I just there's 2 documents that we use. It's the
Yes.
budget template 2023 traditional,
Okay.
and then you're in the other one, the bookkeeping template.
Okay. Yeah, I was in the bookkeeper one, I think.
Yeah, so we're using both actively, and I can pull it up if you'd like.
Okay, that'd be great.
All right. Let's see if I can share. Share my screen. Share my entire screen. There we go. All right. Okay, so this is the bookkeeping one. Give me a second, trying to get arranged here. So we have all of our banking tabs here down at the bottom, right? And we've updated everything into the combined document. So we have January through July now. And, highlighted a few areas that we need to work on. So like the red text here, just kind of like notes to self, like, hey, we need to work on this stuff. And maybe that's where we need to start, today is how do we work on the items that we know we need to work on and what to do about it.
Okay.
And then the budget template is here. So I'm not doing anything with this budget planning. I feel like this exercise was primarily just to get clarity on the 6-month average. So this feels kind of static, which is fine, but it would kind of start to come alive in the next tab where we have revenue or income at the top, and then like the budget, the actual, and then the difference, right? So we're starting to see some of the differences coming in, and then I pasted in the expected revenue budget all the way through the end of the year, which I had to create those tabs, by the way. If you're not seeing that, it's because I had to create those 6 tabs last night. And so I think Mary Kate and I are just trying to figure out how do we now plan strategically in this area, or maybe some other area.
Perfect. Thank you so much for showing this to me. So if you could go back to that first tab, the January through June, and let's make that more than January through June. Like you stated, that first 6 months, that was just so we can get a starting point and know what it looks like on average. You're exactly right. But if you look at these numbers and it's not, when you get to the bottom, because you have all your income, all your expenses, if you get to the bottom and you're not in the green,
Yeah.
something needs to change.
Yeah, I'm not anywhere in the green. I'm like 10 grand off almost every month.
And for you, you have your personal and business all together, so we don't need to go to the second one, right?
Yeah, no, it's all combined for now, just to keep it simple for us.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So this right here is where we can make those changes. So what I was doing was seeing what needs to change here. First of all, you can expand it just like you expanded the other one with the budget versus actual. You could take first, we don't need these numbers. If you want to copy this sheet so you don't make, something irreversible, and then possibly save those as numbers instead of values. What's it called? Paste values, paste special. So you would go up into the corner between the A and the 1 and highlight the whole sheet. And right click, copy, and then right click again, paste special values in there. So let's do copy first.
Values only?
Yes. Did you copy it first?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So now,
So this is just going to be static?
yes.
No formulas?
Exactly. Yes. So then the only thing we would need is to expand the rows. If you want to see this through the end of the year or for a 12-month period, you would take that one of those rows, maybe column I, but you just need one of them. You wouldn't need the 6-month total anymore. So all that stuff can be pushed to the back so that you can span it to have rows that are meaningful to you.
Is that what you mean?
I mean to copy that row and expand it. So we don't want to just see 6 months. We want to see through, what do you want to see? Through December?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look through December.
Okay.
All right, so what we're saying is right now, as it currently stands, this is what we're going to anticipate coming in and going out. But there are different items that come into play that aren't reflected in those numbers that we gathered from 6 months ago. So right here, this is where we're going to determine if we stay in the red or how do we get to the black. These are future changes here. So up top, if you know about any additional revenue sources that aren't currently reflected, you want to add them there. And then make them actual. Like you said, your wife's business, Nurture Nature's there. You want to make sure that that's stating what it needs to state. If it's a check every other month, that's what should be there.
Right. Okay.
So 8, 9, 10, 11. I think you might need one more. And then, of course, those totals would be adjusted to reflect the whole thing. Perfect.
Something like that.
Yep.
Things like end of the month. So I'm gonna get a bonus. It should be on the last check of the month in August. Would I reflect that in September or August pay period?
When are you going to receive it? At the end of the month?
Yeah, like
I would
August. Do it in August.
if that's when you're going to receive that check. Yes,
Okay.
sir. But I wouldn't do it with your normal W-2. For me, that would be a different stream of income. Because it's not,
Okay.
it's like a bonus. And so
Yeah, it's a bonus
okay,
from the same company.
understood.
All right. So roughly, that's the forecast.
Okay, good. So now from the expenses, I know some of these things are red. Let me admit, Mary Kate. I understand some of them are red. So we want to look at those, like you said, to see what we can do with those. The reason why we highlight those expenses.
By the way, am I supposed to be doing this in the one that's static? So this is the duplicated. Should I put this in the one where the formulas exist or in the static one?
Which one do you think would benefit more?
I don't know.
I think the static one, because right now
Okay.
we're doing so much manipulating.
Yep.
Because we're adding income, we're going to remove expenses or reduce expenses if you
Yep.
feel these numbers don't make sense. And
Okay.
if nothing less, we can copy it over when we're done.
Okay. So for budgeting, would I go into like our combined over here?
Yes.
So July. Paste that in. That's the actual though.
Wait a minute. So that's the actual. So
Mhm.
let's not do actual. Let's stick with what we said for. Okay, let me be clear. The first 6 months, that was just to give us an idea for those numbers in case we didn't know how much we were spending in those areas.
Yeah.
That's the, like you stated earlier. So July actual looks good. Maybe that's what we should use. We should budget for actual so that there's no variance, especially since you have that number. That sounds good to me. So I'm comfortable with you using July.
Okay.
All right. Now you already told me though, July represents changes that you've already put in place.
Some.
Okay. So I don't have to
Although-
know that. Go ahead.
Let's see.
Like which expenses did you reduce? And thank you, Mary Kate. Which expenses did you reduce and how were you able to do that?
I feel like this is the same thing as June. What did I do wrong here? It's July. Tell me if I'm taking up too much time here.
This is perfect. This is for the
So,
class. Yeah.
okay, so June, God, these are manual inputs from June over here. But that doesn't seem right. That's not the right number. All right.
You need to go to that budget versus actual thing.
All right, here's the combined actual for June. Now I'm going to paste this in the June planning here. That's the actual. And then here's the actual for July.
Okay.
Jason, can you either full screen your spreadsheets or zoom them in? Even on my monitor, I cannot read a single number on there. You got those young eyes or something.
Well, it is pretty personal information. So
We're in a budgeting
I'm
class.
not trying to give like magnifying glasses here.
We're all in this together.
All right.
Okay.
So this is it. I mean, this is not a budget. This is what we spent.
This is what you spent.
So we're trying to figure out how to budget and like change our spending going into this month and beyond.
Okay. All right, let me tell you what I'm seeing here. The actual is good. But I don't know how to compare that against what we have budget. Like if we start with gas and fuel, there are differences there. You guys may have traveled more than you did the month before. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but what did we even have budgeted for that?
So that's here, I think. So this is where you had the budget versus actual.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. So this is June. We budgeted this based on 6-month average. We actually spent $298 more than the budget.
Yeah.
And then in July, we budgeted this. We spent $50 more.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
You're
And
getting
we
it close.
traveled.
Wow.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't either, y'all. That's really good. And it's summertime.
Yeah. So like here,
Auto repairs.
the green is like we didn't spend as much as we budgeted, right? So there's $737 found, not officially, but theoretically in the auto and life insurance category.
Okay.
But we spent, like we had an HVAC go out in one of our rental properties. I had to spend, $2,000 of $5,000 on that in the month of July, right? And I've got another $2,000 remaining for August and September. So this was way over budget in July.
But those funds had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So sounds good. All right, I think we should stick with the budget. It's good. It's so good that you have these actual numbers so we can already analyze and see what's going good and what's going in the wrong direction. But if we have like the rental property, the repairs, what's the number again for the repairs for the rental company?
Well, we spent $3,000 that month, but we had budgeted based on 6 months, $600.
Yes. Now, this came from when you actually looked at your rental expenses for December through May, you only spent $3,000 the whole period.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you spent, but that's a starting point. That's a perfect example. What realistic, now that we're going to this budget projection, this sheet right here, what number should go there? It seems
This sheet here.
yes. So yes, sir. So what we're doing, it seems like that 609, that 3,000 total is not an actual representation. Maybe we just call it a really good quarter or something.
Yeah.
So what I recommend is taking these numbers that we have, it is a starting point, but what realistically should be in that spot to cover those expenses anticipated over a 12-month period.
Yeah.
All right. So we see that 600 is an understatement.
Yeah. I mean, I think like, I don't know, up to recently, it hasn't really been much, but I will tell you, they are getting old and needing repairs. So that number is increasing rapidly. But if I were to, that doesn't even make sense. It's like every other month though, we're not going to get hit with, I don't know, $5,000 typically would be plenty, but I've already spent more than that this year.
Right. Okay. So that's what would need to be reflected in your budget plan. Which tab is it that you expanded to go out 12 months?
Yeah. So this plan,
This one, for that one line, it would not be 600 and something. Or the actual, it would be, we're going to budget for something that's going to cover you the whole year.
yeah.
And if it's going up, I mean, golly.
I mean, it won't be like this every month.
Okay. Do you anticipate any major expenses coming up? Like, is anything reaching its lifespan?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
That's what we would need to budget for. You may have other things in place that can help you with some of those expenses, maybe some type of rental, those plans where they cover things for older homes.
oh, like warranties.
Yes, that's the word.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I've paid for warranties for years and, ended up paying,
Mhm.
$70 a month plus $100 for somebody to just show up at the door, and then, parts and maintenance, and they never want to replace things. They just want to like keep it as long as they can, so they don't have to replace the full unit. So
Okay.
whenever I made less money, I definitely leveraged the warranty, but now, it's kind of like, why spend that per month when I, out of pocket? But my out of pocket capacity now is far lower than it was at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
So, maybe a warranty is a good idea.
All right. We'll
Yeah.
see about that. Maybe that'll mitigate some of these changes because your budget is 600 for this particular expense.
Yeah.
That was a great one. Do we have any items that are in our favor? Well, before we leave here, on that sheet where you added all those, yes.
There we go.
Can we
This
do?
is starting to make sense.
Can we do a new average for that? I'm glad it's
What-
making.
Do like a running 3-month average.
I like that. I mean, we may not like it, but
Yeah.
we need actual numbers here.
I mean, so that would put me, Jesus. Yeah, so that's a running 3-month average. What if we did a 4-month?
But I think we should do it line by line because every single item here has its own differences, like auto gas. If you travel more, you expect that to go up. That's in line. And then if you're traveling more, we're expecting your family and recreation expense to increase because that's in line as well. Maybe your eating out may increase because you're going, it just all goes together. So if we take a look at those items and okay, yeah, we're going here, but maybe we should have an alternative. I'm not sure what that needs to be, but put that in place to make sure that you're traveling on budget and you're not affecting another area. So my goal here is to go from line 18 all the way down, each separate line, take a look at what we have in there for that budget based on the 6 months. And if it does not make sense, put the right number in there.
Okay.
By the time we get to the bottom of all these expenses, we must be in the black. If we are in the red, something has to give. Something has to give. Whether we like it or not, something has to give. So you had highlighted some items in red. Did you want to go over those other items that you know need to give so we can see what the difference it would make on this end?
Yeah. So I'm going to go in here. This is my combined. I love my combined sheet. It makes me so happy. All right.
Good.
I'm going to go paste this in right here.
Ooh, wee.
Right?
Yes.
Makes me happy too. All right. So let's see if I can filter by color. Red.
Okay. You have to give us an Excel class and all these little tricks and things you're doing.
I'll $250 an hour for the next 3 months,
We'll get you under contract.
Right.
All right. So for this loan, is that pretty stable? That's what it's going to be, or is it paid off? What's going on?
That doesn't, this does not look right.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I feel like something's not right.
You want to undo something?
I don't even know why I colored that one.
Oh,
Maybe probably because it's 0. That's not right. We missed something. So let's call this, okay, what do we pay? Like $300? I don't know why we have this there, but
all right. So that's what that is. And that's not going to move, not go up and down. You cannot adjust that one.
Yeah.
All right. The budget for the repairs, that's good because if you do not encounter $796 a month, theoretically, if once we're making sure everything's there, that's what you would have available for other things should they arise and they're not budgeted for. All right, but we want to keep that there because we're thinking that may need to accumulate. So if something big happens, you have cushion there. That's the goal.
yeah. So we could reduce. I mean, this one got increased because we had like $2,000 in March or something.
Oh,
So I would say for repairs, 420 might be more accurate.
okay.
400
All right.
or something.
All right.
Right.
All right. And that's definitely going to help us. All right.
Mary Kate, does this look right? When are we going to start paying for your school?
Jason, I can't see a single number on your spreadsheet, darling.
Well, just log in. You got the sheet.
I will have to start paying for my school at the end of September.
And what's that going to be per month?
I don't know. I set up the payment plan this afternoon with him. I have an appointment.
Okay.
I don't know that information yet.
Okay. So this is the rental property stuff.
Repairs and dates.
It's,
Yeah.
it's going to be way higher in August and September because we just got a request for some repairs that we're going to have to address in order to stay in good standing. $5,000 maybe.
Through the end of the year.
No,
A
in
month.
the next 30, 45 days.
Okay. Well, which
But
brings-
after that, we should be like pretty done. And I'm trying to sell this property. So this would kind of be like, a last hurrah for that piece.
Understood. Okay. So that's about to generate some cash flow.
Maybe.
I hope it does.
Me too.
Let me ask the class, are you guys understanding why we're doing what we're doing? Is this making sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is very helpful to go through in this way.
Good, 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 good. Again, thanks for sharing, you guys. All right.
I gotta plug my computer in there.
I was thinking with this increase that you're going to need for the repairs, you may not need it, but that would be an additional income if you needed to obtain lending or to make that happen.
Lending.
If
Yeah.
you needed to do that. Yeah.
And where would I account for that? Will I put that up here?
We would. There's not currently a liability section.
Yeah.
Let's throw it up there.
Okay.
Now, when you go to pay it off, of course, that's going to be a bill, but that
Yeah.
cash flow that you're getting.
Yeah. What will likely end up happening is I'm going to drain.
Oh, he froze.
And then sell the house to try and refill that coffer.
Can you say it again? You cut out. I think I lost internet or something.
Sorry. I was saying what will likely end up happening is whatever the number is, this is on its way to draining the cash we have on hand. Right. So I'm going to have to get lending or spend this, risking it. Hopefully no emergencies arise outside of this, and then sell the house to then recoup the, the coffers, the savings accounts.
That's great. That's absolutely great to even have those assets to make those decisions with. That's great.
This has been a very long time coming. We do not want to sell, but I think the time is probably right. Yeah. It's also not really producing much from a cash flow standpoint. There's not much benefit from it. It's more of an equity net worth type value at this point.
Understood.
Not actually monthly income. The other property, we're not touching that because it's great, but this one is starting to suck us dry.
Gotcha.
All right, business to be categorized. I think this is less. I think we can probably go way less on this.
So we have 2,000 instead of 22, 1,900.
Yeah, so all this was for business investment that we did the event in June, collected some revenue from that. It's sitting in the bank. And then, this expense moving forward, I would say might be more like this, except when we do this properly and break it out by each company,
Perfect.
then I might be spending more. It's probably more like $500 out of personal funds, and then the rest would come out of the bank, the business bank account, which is a little bit confusing because I haven't broken it out properly.
We're on the same page,
Okay.
but I like what you've done. You just saved 1,500 by being realistic. We don't need those averages for this. This number that you have is more realistic. All right.
So credit card is another one of those mixed use tools. It's now fairly maxed out. I keep pulling from savings to pay it down, but I know that's not sustainable. And it costs about $500 a month. Like interest is, so the minimum payment's around $500.
Okay.
And it's maxed, right? So it's not useful unless I pay it down. So this thousands of dollars here is me making a purchase on that card, taking money out of another place, transferring it, right, and then paying the credit card. That's why this line costs me so much, because it's like business expenses that I'm using this card for. But the minimum is like $500 a month. Does that make sense?
Hold on. I want to make sure I'm hearing the right thing.
Okay.
Look, because what we're looking at here is cash flow. So if you're maxing out the card month after month, but you're paying it off month after month, that's impacting your cash flow. So you're saving, and that $500 in interest they would charge you, but it's requiring you to pay for your purchases with your cash flow. Correct? So that's
I had what actually usually happens is I use that card because it's easier to pay for almost everything. So like the HVAC repair was, I had to pay the guy like $2,000.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't accept some, where I have my money in Venmo or wherever, he doesn't accept that method. So it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna use my credit card. So what I do is I use the credit card, and I take money out of savings, transfer it over, and pay that same amount or more if I can, or less sometimes if I have to, on the credit card. So I've done that, over and over and over now. I get points for it, but it's not really for the points. It's really for convenience. But now I've got, a history of spending this much using that card. But if I were to stop spending, then my minimum payment's like $500. So this month, I don't really plan on I haven't used it, this month. So I'm just going to pay the minimum balance. However, I also need to pay this card down, right? It's like $15,000. So I need to take that into consideration to pay the full balance off as soon as I can. So that monthly minimum balance goes to zero. And then I would benefit from cash flow.
We have an opening, Jason.
What does that mean?
That's red. That's red. Yeah, it should be red. That's an opening.
Opening, what do you mean?
I understand your long-term goals, and we haven't spread it out over 12 months yet. Even with your budget, it's not over 12 months yet. But this would take you through what, June of 2024? That could be your goal. You're like, okay, I have this $15,000 in credit card debt. I want to erase. But as of this moment, I'm just going to have to pay the minimum balance and just not look at it anymore.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then because we need to save that whole $5,000 and make sure we're out of the red.
Yeah.
So if you're planning on, or if you could consider to only pay that minimum, maybe say 600 a month. And that's what it should be reflected as far as your cash flow goes. And that's going to save you tremendously. I know it may hurt. I'm not going to even act like I don't understand that.
Yeah.
But that would be one of our goals. So as we see where cash is freed up, that may be your top priority, but that's one item. As we go through the rest of your red, you guys can let me know what's important to you as we determine where these extra funds need to go. That's
Okay.
really good.
Okay. Interesting. I've got a bonus coming soon of like 10,000, and we'll need, and taxes, which we should get a decent return on once we finish taxes. So I would say that's about 20K roughly that I'm expecting, kind of found money. And I'm just, we'll be asking you, do we take all that to pay off this card? Do we put some cushion in, knowing that we're going to end up spending the cushion? How do we leverage it?
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Do you want to put that up top because it's not mentioned? I don't know.
So
This might
I've
be good.
increased the monthly up here, and then I've got a bonus coming. It's a conservative estimate of the bonus, and then another business event in November. So we've got a few bumps, a few increases there that I've accounted for.
I'm so curious. What does it look like at the bottom for the rest of the year? Are we getting closer to?
All right, something's not right. Let's see. Y'all, I swear to you, I cannot fathom that we're spending this much money. It is insane. And like the notion of needing to make more money, I just feel is like, wow, I've never made this much money and I need to make more, is like really weird. I mean, I want to be like, I'm grateful, but at the same time, I'm like confused. How did I get here?
But let's just manage it, and then it'll be less confusing once you know where it's going. And yeah.
All right, so this
Wanna make
formula is
weight?
not right. Let's see. What is that supposed to be? Income minus expenses. All right.
Yes.
This is. Man, I feel like we're all family now. Y'all seen everything.
Thank you so much for sharing, Jason.
Help us all.
All right. Ooh, those are good numbers. Let's see how we can keep that in the black.
There ain't no black. Oh, right here? That's
Yeah,
'cause I don't have any expenses.
I know. But as we go in, keep that in mind as we go and see what can be tweaked. And you guys, I expect y'all to do the same. Take a look at every line and see what adjustments can be made, what additional income needs to be included that wasn't reflected in the prior 6 months when we got our average. And then do what Jason did on the other tab and compare your budget to actual. He's already making strides. They are already making strides in the right direction. It was great to see those numbers trickle down month after month.
So we did better in July than what this is showing. So something is a little confusing. This is July. So 29 there with 31,000 cost. So that's
That's really good.
I mean, that's not right either.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, it's only like $1,500 or something like that. My calculations are off here, but
If that's the case, then that one credit card change, it's going to have you where you need to be.
what is this? This should be Income minus expense. Boom, look at that. $1,600.
Stop it. Oh
Good
my
job, Mary Kate. Let's go get some ice cream.
We don't have any money to go get ice cream.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So going back. Why is this off? So far? Oh, this is averages, not actuals.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh, but what? But it hadn't happened yet. So are we missing it?
that's right. But let's see, July. There we go.
Okay.
There it is.
That is so great.
So yeah, I mean, we did make progress,
We're
and that was kind of
negative 11 for September. That's bad. That's am I understanding that correctly?
yeah.
That's
I
a
mean-
lot of money we got to find in a month.
Yeah. Let me see.
Sandra, I think that part of your company, like you do this and then you need to hire a therapist that can then, hold all of us as we
I second that. Yes.
I mean, it's too much. It's too much.
It's a
I need my therapist. And a weighted blanket. Like, I think we should get a goodie bag that's like, welcome. Here is your weighted, heated blanket and your therapist.
I love it. I'm sorry. I love
I'll
it.
provide some referrals for everyone. I need my own therapist too. So we'll share some referrals.
That's what I think.
All right. So I think my income is less than it is, which is why it's throwing off. So I'll adjust that. I think more like 20 might make a little bit of a difference. And then I've got some months that are higher and some months that are lower, but we can make adjustments here. All right, I feel better about that. A little bit better. I think we need to, so for example, right here in July, we got a reimbursement that we've been waiting on for forever. We got a reimbursement. We took that and immediately paid for 3 months of school for the kids, which was what's been killing us. So like that was a big number, but actually, look at this, Mary Kate, this is gonna be so fun. I don't know, let's do like $300. $300. Maybe that's clothing for the kids, but the tuition's paid for 3 months.
Amazing.
So that's huge. Au pair. We don't have a big change happening there. Sports activities. Surely that's going to go down. Is that going down? Okay. Nope. Damn. But is this how all that should work? We're just kind of seeing some areas that we need to improve, and then we just plug in the right stuff. Is that how we should be looking forward?
Yes, that's a start. Once we get all these numbers in and you get to the bottom, if it's above your income, you have to make more adjustments.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to make more adjustments. But let's go back to the tuition. We need numbers in November and December unless those are zero.
Jason, I would put $1,500 in October, November, and December.
But it was we got them down to 1,000.
Yeah, but we still have to pay for Puckett Acres.
$500 a month.
Or 50.
Okay, so what's next, you guys? Go through this line by line, see if you're in the black. If you're not, we have to make sure you get in the black or devise a plan of how to get in the black. I know the kids' items cannot be moved, but which one of these items in red can we adjust?
Eating out.
But you got to eat, so then your grocery
Yeah,
bill.
but we got groceries up here. That's plenty.
What was your actual, if you don't mind? How are we
These are
doing?
all, these are actuals.
Okay.
Oh,
It went up about $1,000 a month over the summer, which I thought was very interesting that when the kids, I mean, it makes sense that we were all home more during the summer than during the school year. So they started back today. So I'm hoping that grocery bill goes down.
yeah. So like the average over 6 months of eating out is about $1,200, and then groceries. Where did it go? Groceries was average of 2,500.
Okay.
So that should, I mean, we should be able to get back to our average moving forward for groceries. And if we just did an even 3,000 total for food, that would save us
$700.
$1,000
Yes, every month.
every month. So just a little bit more discipline there would be great. What if we do like 2,500? Groceries, and let's just be honest, we do not have the self-control to not spend on eating out, so we're going to put that at 500.
And it was at 700, right? No, what was it at?
That was
12?
way higher. It was
Okay.
at 1,200 here, and then it was at 20. This is about the same up here. It went up July and August, but we bring it back down in September,
Okay.
and then it's about $750 savings roughly.
Okay. Let's make this realistic. So when you guys go out to eat in a week, how many times do you go out?
Probably we eat pizza on Friday nights, and then we probably would go out one other, like pick up Chick-fil-A or something, probably
Okay.
one other time. And there's
Okay.
7 of us. So Jason, we can all see your Slack.
I missed it. Do it again. No. Okay. So we have 2 days that are like habitual. That's what you guys do as a family. Theoretically, those 2 days will remain going forward. Correct?
hmm
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm not cooking on Friday nights. Friday nights just for pizza. I don't care if it comes for $20 from Costco, but it's coming on Fridays.
I like that. For
Mhm.
real, for real.
Mhm.
A $70 pizza or $20 pizza. I mean, okay. So we have 2 nights. So that's 8 nights. a
At least
month.
$100 per
Yes.
week.
Right. So I don't think we would go less than $400 a month.
How are we gonna make it happen is what I'm trying to say. If we have those 2 meals, how, and it's gonna happen every week. How do we make sure that that 500 is realistic?
Yeah, I mean, the kids are going to be packing their lunch for school, so that's helpful.
Okay.
Where it happens is it's convenience purchasing. It's, oh, we decided to drive to Greenville to go see our sister, or we decided to, or we're low on groceries, so it's easier to go to, Cookout or whatever. So that's really where it happens.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
as
the
you can
7 of us are not going to a restaurant. We are not
No,
showing
no,
up
we never
at
do that.
Applebee's with our 4 kids sitting down at the table with a waitress. Like that is definitely not happening in our life. So yeah.
And I think it's more expensive too.
Yeah.
So if we have $500 for weeks, that's $125 per week towards eating out. If it's 7 of y'all and 2 meals, so that 125 divided by 2 is $63, $62.50 per meal for all y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually realistic for where we're going to pick up our dinner. Like all 7 of us can eat at Chick-fil-A for $65.
Perfect.
all of us we don't spend $65 a week on pizza. Like we might spend 50 if we are going to Marco's, and that's like our fancy night, versus if we're going to Costco when I'm already there, that's going to be a $20 night.
And that's gonna save you a whole $45.
I do think we also, like, with this information, that's about $8.50 per person. You know,
Yes.
so we could choose to make a rule. It's like, all right, when we go out, no combos. Like, that's ridiculous. We have water. We always have our water, right? So don't get a combo. Get a sandwich and bulk fries or something. Like, because every combo now is $10 and more everywhere we go, right? So
Right?
that immediately scratches the ability to buy a combo. It's a small thing. Again, it's not going to get us out of our situation, but it helps.
Yes, and all these small things will help. You'll be amazed after you look at a whole year of these small changes, how they make such a big difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's one good thing. So if you guys can see it, how that can be implemented, you'll see that $700 savings per month in that area.
Yeah.
All
right.
right. All right, you guys. Any questions or anything before we wrap up? Shalandra, you good?
Yes, I'm good. I don't have any questions.
Good,
Hopefully
good.
I have questions, but not right now. And maybe that's something we can talk about on Thursday.
Sounds good. Absolutely.
Can you all hear me or no?
Yep.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Okay, I can now. I think it cut out for a moment.
She's traveling today, you guys. All right. Any other questions, Jason or Mary Kate?
We can move this. I'm just going to keep cranking on this.
Thank you so much. It's been
Yes.
insanely helpful. There's not a chance we could figure this out by ourselves. So I appreciate all the work that you're doing to help us navigate all this. Maybe I can have like more breathing space inside of my brain and heart.
Good. That's really good to hear. I'm so glad that you guys are doing the work. All I'm doing is watching the work that you're doing. So
No,
kudos to
I
you.
don't know how you set up those spreadsheets. That's like a work of art. So I appreciate you.
You're more than welcome.
Mary Kate said that you had some ideas around like revenue ideas. I don't know if you have time now and want to chat through that or want to schedule a one-on-one.
Sure. We can. I'll get Kyra to reach out. Thursday's my day, you guys. So,
Okay.
Let me make
Thursdays.
sure I'm Thursday. Last Thursday I wasn't. Let me see.
Mary Kay, once we go through and finish this sheet that we just started building, then I think we then put it into the budget versus actual tab. Right.
Okay.
And that's what you can look at. It's like, all right, in August, we've said that we only have $600 for such and such, right? And then
Okay.
we manage to
Then
that $600.
I guess that's my next question is, all right, so if I say that I have $500 to eat out for the month, how do I know how I'm doing on it? Like I've been bookkeeping at the end of the month. Am I supposed, and I know we're at time, Sandra, so this maybe is for next week's class, but like that next step of like, okay, so I have $500 to eat out or whatever. Today I had to go buy the kids new soccer cleats, right? So like that puts into the activity, the sports, right? Okay, so like, all right, well, I've already paid this, but I also have to pay the $200 a month for their soccer club team. So, that's going to be a recurring fee. My question is like, how do I keep up with how much more I have left for that month? Or like, oh crap, I didn't know I had to buy both kids new soccer cleats and I did today. And so now maybe I'm over budget there. So I actually lose a week of Chick-fil-A because that's how much a soccer cleat cost me. So how do I like make those real-time decisions so I'm not looking in September at August and being like, well, I overshot that month, like kind of in that. So I recognize this was, as we call this in therapy, a doorknob confession at time to go. That's my next question.
No worries. So a couple things came to mind as you were saying that. Jason has you on the daily budget on a per person level. He got you there. But if things come up maybe there needs to be a boundary put in place right there, or planning to make sure these things are accounted for. If you know the kids are going to be in soccer, okay, what's the cost? Do you already have the materials? How much are we going to have to invest to make sure this happens for you? And then make sure it can happen. And
Yeah. I think, Sandra, that you have a higher idea of myself, of how much I have this life together. Like, I just don't think I'm actually that much together. Like, soccer practice is tonight and I had to go buy cleats today. So like, I
On
feel
the
like
way to our first day of school, and we were late on our first day of
we
school.
were
So
late.
this
Like,
is our life.
I feel like you have a different idea about how much of the togetherness I got going on here.
We are on the fly, on the go. That is how we live our life. And it's now biting us bad.
that's what you see what he said. So for
Both
me,
of us. It's both of us. I'm just as guilty. More guilty.
you asked me how to do this on the fly. I do my budget on a per week basis. It starts on Monday. Every week, and I have it for the whole year. So let me share that booger with you. And because for me, I need to know what's happening. I don't have the bandwidth to go in and pay my bills when they're due. I pay them at the beginning of the month, and that whole month is taken care of. I can't look at that again until the time comes around again next month. So let me pull that up so you can have a look into my world. But I think that would be a resolution for you guys to look at your items at least once a week and have everything lined out for that week. It's a lot.
I think that would be, we could probably manage to that. We used to, as a way to try and mitigate this when life was far simpler, is we tried the cash plan, like the cash only envelope thing. Conceptually, that at least made sense to us, right? Because if there's not cash in the envelope, then we're not doing it.
Yeah.
We got away from that, obviously.
Well, I don't
but
pay anybody in cash. I pay everybody on the internet.
no, we're not going to be able to do that for sure. But surely there's got to be some tools or some other ways to do this reasonably.
Yeah. All right. Let me pull this up. I'm a little scared because I hadn't. So I'm like, what's it gonna look like? All right. Oh, I lost you real quick. That's the monthly one. Let me see if I have.
I guess ultimately it's the same thing we've got now, but with 52 columns, like weekly view.
We would like for it to be that way, wouldn't we? It is not.
Oh, it's not?
No. But I'm a little comprehensive. Okay. I'm going to have to go with the 2022.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it's okay. Granted, I've been doing this for a while. I enjoy it. I need to know where my money's going. Here we go. Let's see. Hey, baby. How are you? She's so cute. How old is she? Is she 2, 1?
Almost 4.
Oh my gosh. Hey, little one. Okay, guys. So let me see. Oh, wait a minute. I see Jason's. Oh. Is this it? No. This is it. Okay, so
Okay.
let me start at the top. I have to know what's coming in, what's anticipated come in. I even keep up with money that's been lent to me, but we're not going to get into all that. So on a per client basis, we have everything that's coming in. This is just before I even get to the months. Then I have every week, right? So I think I must have started this one in June. It's when I started tracking everything that came in. We bill at the beginning of the month, so everything. So that's when I'm counting for that. All right. Then That's the total income on a weekly basis. So if there's some weeks without income or whatever, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I go down the business expenses. We have those whenever they come in. Certain things are reimbursed, so that's how I do the reimbursement. The various expenses, and like you said, some things that don't happen every single week. So whenever they come,
Like,
I account
so like
for them.
our goal is cash flow management, right? That's our goal.
Yes.
And I think like what you said, you had your weekly income that comes in, but then some weeks they don't come in. So
Yes.
I think for us, it's like, what do we like? I'm going to make more in August, right? Than July.
Right.
So what do I do with that extra? How do I plan ahead for that extra?
This is me. So if I'm in August and I'm seeing, oh, I got 17,000 extra coming in, well, how about all these weeks where I'm under?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't look at that and think, oh, I don't have anything else to account for this. So I have to take those into account. And this is weekly. So I
Mhm.
know really for the month, I'm just looking at $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that can make me happy, but
Uh,
I can't spend it because it has purposes, because I planned out for the whole year, that whole way. So when I get to the end of the year, I'm looking at 48, which is good, but it's a whole lot of in and out that I have to just weekly know what's coming in. So for me, I would go in and highlight certain things, which I'm not seeing it here. It was yellow if I scheduled it to be paid, green if I went back and saw it's actually been paid.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are
Yeah, I think that's where we get into some trouble on our side is like we'll get paid. For example, I got paid for this new role I just took on. I got
Yeah.
paid in July. Didn't even know it. Didn't even feel it until I was doing the statements, right? And that's because we're not doing it that close. We're not managing it that tightly. But that was $2,000 of new money, right? That we could be more intentional about. And we want to moving forward. I think a month view might be too late in some cases. So we can look at maybe doing it on a weekly basis. Or Kate, I could build this out.
It's a lot. I can give you guys this template too, so you can see it. It even goes into the credit card payments. That's personal expenses, because I want to see what's left, at the end, and then the different credit cards and when they're scheduled. And again, it's every $100 I would put towards it every month, maxed out, or whatever the case may be. I do set my things to auto pay, so I just know I need to have that money available. I don't have to look at it. And then I know the total amount for all the credit cards per week. And then this number, like this 800, is going to be reflected in this total here for all the credit card payments that are being made.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm with you. I'm not about the minimum. I like when I'm able to grade them out because I've actually paid them off. But whatever. It's just
For the packages that you offer, I know you've sent an email on it, but in addition to the taxes, which one of your packages offers like bookkeeping?
neither.
Really?
Yeah, the packages are for accounting services. So that would be the growth plan or anything. The bookkeeping is standalone, and it's
Okay.
$170 a month.
How much?
$170.
170 a month. I want us to do that because I think for us, now that we understand how it works, I think the time of spending with you, like analyzing what is being tracked, I think you can free up. I think together we can free up cash flow, which is really our objective. And then, I think we would be willing to do that through the rest of the year to really get this train back on the right tracks and free up cash flow, then direct the cash flow in the right places, which is really the most important thing for us. And then come next year, I think, we'll be in a much better position. But I'm very interested in getting that bookkeeping service, plus the taxes that we got to finish as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Well, let me go ahead and stop the recording. I think we're through with the class.